The vast emptiness of space stretched in all directions around Earth. Monitoring Station Epsilon 9. Inside the station's main control room, technician first class. Mike Davis stared at his screen, rubbing his tired eyes 8 hours into his 12-hour shift. And nothing unusual had appeared on the long-range scanners, just another quiet day, watching the stars. Then his console beeped. Mike sat up straight, suddenly alert. "That's weird," he muttered, adjusting his headset. The station's advanced sensor array had picked up something, a faint signal pulsing from the direction of the Vega system, nearly 25 light-years away. "Hey, Jen, are you seeing this?" he called to his supervisor. Jennifer Wells moved quickly to a station, her expression changing as she studied the readout. "Definitely artificial pattern suggests a distress call. Run it through the translation matrix." Mike's fingers flew across the controls. The computer worked. For several seconds before producing a result, "It's an SOS," Mike said, his voice dropping to a near whisper. Using one of the oldest interstellar frequencies from the Lumari colonies, Jennifer immediately opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Force. "Headquarters. This is Epsilon 9 Station. We have an emergency situation." Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship, intrepid hands clasped behind his back, as he studied the holographic display showing the distress. Message at 45. Walker was a veteran of Earth's most brutal conflicts, with gray streaking his dark hair, and a long scar running down the left side of his face, a reminder of the Martian rebellion. "Replay the message." He ordered. The hologram flickered, showing a slim blue-skinned alien with large eyes. The Lumari ambassador's voice trembled with fear. "This is an urgent plea to all allied worlds. Vega system is under attack by Void Dominion Forces 3 colony. Worlds already lost. Their warships show no mercy. Civilians being slaughtered. Our defenses cannot hold. Please send aid." Before the message cut off and static, Walker's jaw tightened. The Lumari were peaceful beings, scientists and artists who had welcomed humans into the galactic community. When Earth first developed faster-than-light travel, 30 years ago, they had no real military, only a small defense force. "When did we receive this, Walker?" asked the communications officer. "The message was sent 3 days. "Ego, sir, we only detected it now because of the recent upgrades to Epsilon 9 sensor array." Walker nodded grimly. "Get me Admiral Torres now in the high-security conference room of the EDF headquarters in Geneva." Admiral Elena Torres listened intently. As the analysts presented their findings, large screens displayed images of the Void Dominion, a species of tall, gray-skinned beings with forearms and predatory yellow eyes. "The Dominion has been expanding their territory for the past decade," explained Intelligence Officer Ben Green. "They target what they call soft species civilizations that lack natural defenses or strong military capabilities, like the Lumari," Torres said. Her dark eyes narrowed as she studied the strategic map at D60. With her black hair cut in a practical short style, Torres had commanded Earth's forces through 3 interstellar conflicts. Exactly. Admiral, the Lumari evolved on a low-gravity world, with minimal environmental hazards. They never developed the physical resilience or aggressive instincts that we did. A tall, willowy blue figure stepped forward. "Tala, the Lumari ambassador to Earth. My people are peaceful. We believed the Galactic Council treaties would protect us." Her voice was musical but strained with worry. Torres looked at her with sympathy. "The Council is still debating their response, aren't they?" Tala nodded, her large eyes dimming slightly. "They will discuss for days, perhaps weeks. The Dominion knows this. By then there will be nothing left to save." Walker, who had been standing silently at the back of the room, stepped forward. "The Void Dominion has never faced humans before." "Have they?" Green shook his head. "No, we've had no direct contact. Our territories are too far apart." "Then they don't know what they're in for," Walker said, his voice flat and cold. "They've never faced Deathworlders before." Tala looked confused. "Deathworlders," Torres smiled without humor. "It's what some species call us humans, evolved on a high-gravity, radiation-soaked planet with thousands of predators and natural disasters. Earth tried to kill us every day for millions of years. She gestured to the screen showing the Void Dominion ships. Their homeworld has 1/3 Earth's gravity and minimal environmental hazards. What are you saying? Tala asked. I'm saying, Torres replied, that they picked a fight with the wrong species, friends. 2 hours later, Admiral Torres stood before the Earth Defense Council, the 12 men and women who controlled humanity's military forces. She had just finished laying out her proposed response plan. This is an extremely aggressive course of action, Admiral said Counselor Richard Okafor, frowning the void. Dominion has not attacked human territory, not yet. Torres replied firmly. But they will. Intelligence suggests they're systematically eliminating what they perceive as weaker species before challenging stronger ones. The Lumari are our allies, added General Harriet Kim. If we don't respond, it sends a message that humanity abandons its friends. Tala stood before the council, her slim form seeming fragile among the stockier humans. My people cannot match the Dominion's strength. We need your help. The council members exchanged looks. Counselor Lin Wong leaned forward. Ambassador Tala, I must warn you, if we commit to this action, you should understand something about humans. When we fight to win decisively. Our methods may seem excessive to your people. Tala bowed her head slightly. At this point, Counselor, we will accept any help that saves Lumari lives. After a brief deliberation, Council Chairperson Marcus Davis stood. The vote is unanimous. Admiral Torres, you're authorized to deploy the 5th Fleet to the Vega system with all necessary resources to repel the Void Dominion invasion in orbit above Earth. Massive warships began powering up their engines. The 5th Fleet was humanity's most advanced battle group, 15 heavily armed vessels designed to operate in conditions that would kill most alien species on the bridge of the dreadnought Nemesis. Admiral Torres oversaw the final preparations. Captain Walker stood at her side as crew members rushed to their stations. All ships report ready. Admiral said the communications. Officer Torres nodded and opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Admiral Torres. Our mission is clear. We will respond to the Lumari distress call with overwhelming force. The Void Dominion has made a critical error. They believe that because the Lumari are peaceful, they are without protection. She paused, her voice hardening. They are about to learn what happens when you threaten a friend of Earth from her positioned near the tactical display. Tala watched with wide eyes as the mighty human warships moved into formation. The ambassador had never seen such weapons, such single-minded preparation for combat. Will this be enough? She asked Walker quietly. The captain's expression remained grim as he checked the final launch sequence. Ambassador, you're about to see why most species in the galaxy both respect and fear humans. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. He looked up at her, his eyes reflecting the determination of his species. And now we're bringing that world to the Void Dominion. The massive engines of Earth's warships flared to life, propelling the fleet toward the jump point that would take them to Vega system, where humanity would show the galaxy why you should never underestimate the children of Earth. The vast human fleet moved through fold space, 15 warships cutting through the fabric of reality at speeds that defied normal physics inside the lead ship. Nemesis Lieutenant Tom Reed stood in the ship's observation room watching the swirling colors of fold space through the reinforced viewports at 32. Reed was one of the younger officers in the fleet, but his 4 years of combat experience during the border conflicts had earned him his position as tactical officer. The door slid open. Behind him, Reed turned to see Captain Walker enter the room. Couldn't sleep either, Walker asked. Reed shook his head, thinking about what we'll find when we arrive. Sir Walker moved to stand beside him. Intelligence suggests we'll arrive in time to make a difference, but just barely. The Lumari don't stand a chance against the Dominion, do they? No, Walker said simply. They evolved in paradise, no predators, minimal natural disasters, perfect climate. They never needed to develop our kind of survival instincts. Reed frowned. Then why attack them? There's no challenge in that. That's human thinking, Lieutenant, for the Dominion. It's about expanding territory with minimal losses. Taking the easy targets. First Walker's scarred face hardened. They have no idea what they've done by forcing us to get involved in the ship's main briefing room. Admiral Torres stood before the assembled fleet commanders and senior officers behind her. Large screens displayed the Vega system, and the latest intelligence reports will exit fold space here, she said, pointing to a location. The edge of the system, our stealth drones will deploy immediately to assess the situation before we reveal our presence. Commander Ana Diaz, captain of the destroyer Swift, raised her hand. Admiral, what's our engagement protocol? Torres's expression was grim, full war footing. The Dominion has already destroyed 3 Lumari worlds. There will be no warnings. No second chances. Tala, who sat quietly at the side of the room, looked visibly shaken at this. The Lumari ambassador had never witnessed war planning before Torres noticed her reaction. Ambassador, I understand this approach seems harsh to your people, but you need to understand something about humanity. When we fight to win completely and decisively. The Galactic Council would recommend negotiation first, Tala said softly. Captain Walker leaned forward with respect. Ambassador, negotiation works when both sides value the same things the Dominion has shown. They only understand strength, so strength is what will show. Lieutenant Reed made his way through the ship's crowded corridors to the intelligence center. Inside, analysts were reviewing all available information on the Void. Dominion Chief Intelligence Officer Maya Patel waved him over to her station. Take a look at this, she said, pointing to her screen. We've been analyzing the Dominion's attack patterns from the limited data we have. Reed studied the display. They're systematic, almost textbook. Patel nodded. Exactly. They follow the same approach. Every time, initial orbital bombardment of military targets followed by ground forces to secure resources, then a final cleansing operation to eliminate any remaining resistance. Predictable. Reed said, his mind already forming counter-strategies. And there's something else, Patel added, pulling up another file based on their ship designs. And the weapons they use, they're built for fighting in their native conditions. Low gravity, minimal radiation. Reed remembered, right? Their ships have only basic radiation shielding. Their hulls would buckle under the G-forces our ships routinely withstand. Patel looked up at him. They've never needed to adapt to harsh conditions. Reed's expression darkened. Unlike us. Exactly, humans designed our ships to operate in conditions that would kill most species. We can outmaneuver them, push our ships harder, take risks. They can't imagine. Reed thought about this for a moment. They've been hunting easy prey. They have no idea what it means to face predators. In her private quarters, Tala sat meditating, trying to find peace among the storm of emotions. The door chimed softly. Enter. Yui, she called. Admiral Torres stepped inside. I hope I'm not disturbing you, Ambassador. Not at all, Tala replied, gesturing to a chair. Please. Torres sat down. I wanted to check on you. I know our war preparations must seem extreme. Your people approach conflict differently than mine. Tala said carefully. The Lumari believe in harmony above all. We haven't had a war in 10,000 years. Torres nodded. Earth has rarely known a decade without conflict. It shaped us from our earliest days. As a species, we're built to survive, to fight when necessary. And is it necessary now to respond with such force? Yes, Torres said without hesitation. The Dominion won't stop with the Lumari intelligence shows. They've systematically eliminated 6 other peaceful species in the last 20 years. Species who couldn't fight back. Tala's large eyes widened. 6 species. The Council knows nothing of this because the Dominion leaves no survivors. No one to tell the story. Torres leaned forward. Ambassador, we're not just fighting for the Lumari. We're fighting to stop this before they become too powerful to challenge. A sudden alarm blared throughout the ship. Torres's communication device beeped. Torres here, she answered. Admiral, came Walker's voice. We're picking up a massive energy surge. From our destination, looks like heavy weapons. Fire. Torres stood quickly. I'm on my way, she looked at Tala. The Dominion is attacking another Lumari world. We need to drop out of fold space now. On the bridge of the Nemesis, controlled chaos reigned. As the crew prepared for an early exit from fold space, Captain Walker stood at the tactical station with Lieutenant Reed. All ships reporting ready for emergency exit, Sir Reed said. Walker nodded. Tell them to prepare for immediate combat deployment. No waiting. No hesitation. Admiral Torres entered the bridge, Tala following close behind. Situation, Torres asked. We're detecting a major Dominion assault on the Lumari colony world. Solar Walker reported population 12 million. The Dominion has 20. Ships in orbit bombarding the surface, Tala gasped. Solara is a scientific colony. They have no weapons, no defenses. Torres's expression hardened as she took her command position. They have us now. She opened a channel to the entire fleet, all ships. Prepare for immediate exit from fold space and combat operations. This is not a drill. The enemy is actively bombarding civilians. The swirling colors of fold space outside the viewports began to shift as the navigator initiated the exit sequence. Exit in 30 seconds, the navigator announced. Walker moved to stand beside Torres. The Dominion outguns us in pure numbers, he said quietly. Torres nodded, but not in capability, not in experience, and certainly not in determination. She looked at him. Show them what humans can do. Captain, with pleasure. Admiral, the fold space effect collapsed around them as the human fleet returned to normal space at the edge of the Vega system. Immediately, sensors detected the Dominion warships in the distance, their weapons raining destruction on the helpless planet below, all ships battle formations. Torres commanded weapons, hot-launch stealth drones for targeting data. She turned to Walker, prepare the surprise package. Walker smiled grimly, already loaded. Admiral, on the main view screen, the Dominion ships continued their bombardment, completely unaware of the human fleet that had just arrived. They had never faced Deathworlders before. They had never encountered humans. They were about to learn why. That had been a fatal mistake. The human fleet hung silently at the edge of the Vega system. 15 warships in perfect formation on the bridge of the Nemesis. Admiral Torres watched the main view screen with cold focus. The void, Dominion ships were clearly visible, 20 vessels in orbit around the blue-green world of Solara. Their weapons firing repeatedly at the surface. Stealth drones deployed. Lieutenant Reed reported first data coming in. Now the tactical display updated, showing detailed information. About the Dominion fleet, Captain Walker studied the numbers with a professional eye. Their ships are larger than ours, he noted. Heavier weapons but slower engines. And look at their formation textbook. Orbital bombardment pattern with no variation. Torres nodded. They're not expecting resistance, no scouts, minimal perimeter security. She turned to the communications officer. Any transmissions from the surface? Yes. Admiral scattered distress calls. The Dominion is targeting major cities and research. Center's Ambassador Tala stepped forward. Her blue skin pale with distress. Can you show me the view? Screen shifted to show a Lumari city under attack. Buildings crumbled. As energy weapons struck from orbit, streams of civilians fled through the streets. My people, Tala whispered. Torres placed a hand on the ambassador's shoulder, then turned to Walker. Implement Operation Thunderbolt. Walker nodded sharply. Yes, Admiral. He opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, this is Captain Walker operation. Thunderbolt is now active group. Alpha will deploy for surface operations group. Beta will execute flanking. Maneuver Nemesis will serve as primary distraction. Reed looked up from his station. Sir, I request permission to lead the ground team. Walker hesitated only briefly. Granted, take Strike Team Delta. Your priority is civilian evacuation and intelligence. Gathering, understood, sir. As Reed left the bridge, Torres addressed the remaining officers. We have 2 objectives. Stop the bombardment and gather intelligence on Dominion capabilities. They've never fought humans before. Let's make sure they remember. This encounter, Lieutenant Reed strapped himself into the drop pod. Along with 5 other soldiers, each wore advanced combat armor designed for Earth's Special Forces suits that could withstand extreme temperatures, radiation, and impact forces that would kill most alien species. Final checks, Reed ordered. Sergeant Maria Lopez, his second in command, responded. All systems green, team ready. Remember, Reed said, looking at each soldier, the Lumari are about half our strength and can't handle high G-forces. Be gentle when evacuating civilians. The drop bay doors opened beneath them, revealing the blue-green planet below. A voice came over the comm system. Drop team. You are clear for atmospheric insertion. Good hunting. The pods launched, shooting towards Solar at speeds that would have crushed most alien pilots inside their pods. The human soldiers endured forces that strained even their Earth-evolved bodies. Reed gritted his teeth as the G-forces pressed him into his seat. The pod's exterior glowed red-hot as it tore through the atmosphere. 30 seconds to landing, the computer announced. Reed checked his tactical display aim for the research center in Sector 4. Largest concentration of survivors there, the pod slammed into the planet's surface, creating small craters on impact. The doors blew outward, and Reed led his team into the chaos of the burning city in space. The Nemesis accelerated toward the Dominion fleet, deliberately exposing itself, while the rest of the human warships moved into flanking positions. They've spotted us. The sensor officer reported 3 Dominion vessels breaking formation to intercept. Torres smiled coldly. Perfect Walker opened a channel to the approaching enemy ship's void. Dominion vessels. This is Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a protected world. Withdraw immediately, or be destroyed after. A moment the view screen flickered to show a Dominion commander. Tall, gray-skinned, with 4 arms and yellow eyes, unknown vessel. The alien said its translator, converting its clicks and whistles into English. This system is claimed by the Void Dominion. Interference will result in your destruction. I don't think you understand the situation. Walker replied calmly. We're not asking you to leave. We're giving you the chance to leave. Alive, the Dominion commander made a sound that might have been laughter. Your single ship threatens our fleet. What species are you to make such bold claims? We're humans, Walker said from Earth. The commander paused, clearly accessing data. Earth, a high-gravity world, Deathworlders for the first time. Uncertainty crossed. Its alien features, no matter. You are outnumbered, are we? Walker asked as the channel closed at that moment. The rest of the human fleet dropped their stealth systems, appearing on Dominion sensors in perfect attack formation, already within optimal firing range. All ships, Torres commanded, execute fire plan. Alpha, target their engines and weapon systems. The human warships opened fire simultaneously. Precision energy beams and kinetic projectiles tore through the surprised Dominion vessels. 3 enemy ships exploded immediately, their shields unable to withstand the concentrated assault on the Dominion command ship. Alarms blared as the commander struggled to understand what was happening. How did they get so close? Where did they come from? It demanded. Unknown commander, an officer replied. Their stealth technology exceeds our detection capabilities. The commander watched in horror as human ships executed maneuvers that should have been impossible turns at speeds that would have torn apart Dominion vessels' acceleration rates, that would have killed Dominion crews. What are these creatures? It whispered on the surface of Solara. Reed and his team moved through the burning research center, helping Lumari civilians to safety. The blue-skinned aliens stared in wonder as the humans lifted fallen debris that would have required 4 or 5 Lumari to move this way. Reed called, directing a group of scientists toward a sheltered area. Stay low and follow Sergeant Lopez. A Lumari female approached him, her large eyes filled with gratitude. You came to help us. How did you know we received your distress call? Reed explained, helping an injured Lumari male to his feet. Earth responds to its allies. Suddenly the building shook as a nearby structure collapsed. Toxic smoke filled the air, gases released from damaged research equipment. The Lumari began coughing, immediately dropping to their knees. Poison gas, one cried. We cannot survive this. Reed checked his armor's environmental readings. The gases were indeed lethal to Lumari physiology, but human bodies could tolerate the exposure for a short time. Without hesitation, he removed his helmet. Everyone put these on, he ordered, as his team followed his example, giving their helmets to the most vulnerable Lumari. We'll get you out. The Lumari stared in shock. But you'll be exposed. Reed winced as the acrid gas burned his lungs. We can handle it. Earth's atmosphere has worse pollutants than this. He helped a young Lumari adjust his helmet. Let's move. We have 8 minutes before the gas reaches fatal concentrations for us. As the humans led the Lumari through the burning building, breathing toxic air and enduring heat that made their skin blister. The aliens witnessed firsthand what it meant to be saved by Deathworlders beings, whose very evolution had prepared them to survive where others could not in orbit. The battle had turned decisively in humanity's favor. The Dominion, fleet caught by surprise and outmaneuvered at every turn, had lost 8 ships already. The remaining vessels were attempting to regroup, but the human warships pursued them relentlessly. Torres watched from the Nemesis as Captain Walker coordinated the attack. They're trying to reach their command ship. He reported attempting to establish a defensive perimeter. Don't give them time. Torres ordered execute Phase 2. Walker nodded, launching strike packages now from the human ships. Dozens of small objects shot toward the Dominion vessels, too small to register as significant threats on their sensors. These devices attached to the hulls of 3 enemy ships before detonating not with explosions, but with powerful electromagnetic pulses that shut down all systems as the disabled Dominion ships drifted helplessly. The Dominion commander finally recognized the truth. They had gravely underestimated these humans for the first time in the Void Dominion's long history of conquest they faced. An enemy that didn't just fight back, but fought back with skills and abilities beyond their comprehension. The main bridge of the Dominion command ship was in chaos. Emergency lights flashed as officers rushed between stations. The commander, Vexar, gripped the edges of the tactical display with 2 of his forearms, the other pair gesturing angrily at his subordinates. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "There are only 15 ships against our 20. "Sir," his second-in-command replied, "the human vessels are executing maneuvers at speeds that should tear their hulls apart. Their weapons are penetrating our shields as if they weren't there." A nearby officer looked up from her console. "Commander, we've lost 11 ships, 4 more are severely damaged." Vexar hissed in frustration. "Send a message to the homeworld, request immediate reinforcements." Before the communications officer could comply, the ship rocked violently. Alarms screamed throughout. "The vessel direct hit to our engine core," an engineer shouted, "shield generators failing." Vexar stared at the view screen where a human ship smaller than his command vessel executed an impossible turn and fired again. The Dominion commander finally understood the terrible truth. His species had spent generations conquering peaceful worlds, never facing true resistance. They had grown complacent, predictable, and now they faced predators on the bridge of the Nemesis. Admiral Torres watched the battle with clinical precision. The human fleet had formed a perfect attack pattern around the remaining Dominion vessels. "Their command ship is crippled, Captain." Walker reported engines and main weapons offline. Torres nodded. "Prepare the boarding party. I want their command center secured and their databases copied." Walker raised an eyebrow. "You're not planning to lead it yourself, are you, Admiral?" Torres smiled thinly. "Of course I am. It's been too long since I've seen combat up close." She turned to her executive officer. "Commander, you have the bridge. Captain Walker will accompany me." As they headed toward the shuttle bay, Walker matched stride with Torres, just like old times. The border wars were a skirmish compared to this, Torres replied. "These Dominion soldiers have never faced humans in close combat. They're about to learn what that means in the shuttle bay." 20 Marines in heavy combat armor stood ready. Their suits were designed to function in environments that would kill unprotected humans and would certainly kill species from gentler worlds. Torres addressed them briefly. "Our objective is the command center. We take the commander alive. If possible, all data systems are to be secured intact. Remember, the Dominion evolved on a low-gravity world. They will be physically weaker than you, but do not underestimate them." The boarding shuttle launched, crossing the space between the ships in seconds. It attached to the Dominion vessel's hull, with magnetic clamps and cutting lasers began boring through the metal on the surface of Solara. Lieutenant Reed and his team had established a protected zone around the main research facility. Hundreds of Lumari civilians huddled inside the reinforced building. As Reed coordinated with other human ground teams that had landed across the planet, stat report. Reed demanded, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Sergeant Lopez pointed to a digital map. Teams have secured 3 major population centers, approximately 15,000 civilians rescued so far. The Dominion ground forces are retreating to their landing zones. A young Lumari scientist approached Reed hesitantly. Lieutenant, I must show you something. He led Reed to a terminal in the research center. This is what the Dominion was trying to destroy. The screen showed detailed plans for an advanced defensive shield system. We were developing this technology to protect peaceful worlds. The scientist explained it would have made it impossible for the Dominion to bombard planets from orbit. Reed studied the plans and they found out about it. The scientist nodded. They attacked us specifically to destroy this research. It would have ended their conquest strategy. Reed opened his comm channel. Admiral Torres, this is Lieutenant Reed. I found what they were after the human boarding party moved through the corridors of the Dominion command ship. With practiced precision, the ship's artificial gravity was set to the Dominion's homeworld. Standard about 1/3 of Earth's, the humans moved with effortless speed, almost bouncing with each step. Torres led one team toward the bridge while Walker took another toward the engine room. The few Dominion soldiers they encountered fired wildly, before being quickly overwhelmed by the faster, stronger humans. Their armor is designed for low-impact weapons. Torres noted as her team easily disabled another group of defenders. They've never needed better. They reached the main bridge and positioned themselves outside the sealed doors. Breach in 3, Torres ordered 2-1. The explosive charge blasted the doors inward. Torres and her Marines rushed onto the bridge amid smoke and confusion. The Dominion officers, unaccustomed to direct combat, froze. In shock at the sight of the armored humans, Commander Vexar stood at the center of the bridge, his yellow eyes wide with disbelief. "What are you?" he demanded, as Torres approached. "Admiral Elena Torres, Earth Defense Force," she replied calmly, removing her helmet. "Your fleet is destroyed or captured. Your ground forces are in retreat. This invasion is over." Vexar drew himself up to his full height, still towering over Torres despite her combat armor. "The Void Dominion does not surrender. More ships will come, we will." Torres cut him off. "No, you won't." She nodded to her Marines, who secured the remaining. "Dominion officers, your species has spent generations attacking worlds that couldn't fight back. You've never faced a real challenge until now." Her comm unit beeped. Admiral Kame Walker's voice, "Engine room secured." "We've found something interesting. Their ship designs, these vessels were specifically built for conquering low-gravity worlds, with minimal defenses." Copy, that Torres replied. She looked at Vexar. "Your entire military strategy depends on your enemies being weaker than you. What happens when you face someone stronger for the first time?" Fear showed clearly in the commander's alien features. Reed stood outside the research facility watching as human shuttles landed to evacuate injured Lumari civilians his team had removed their helmets permanently now that the toxic gases had dissipated, though their faces showed red burns, and their eyes were bloodshot from exposure. A Lumari child approached Reed, offering him a container of water. "You saved my family," the child said simply. Reed smiled despite his pain and accepted the water. "That's what allies do." His comm unit activated. "Lieutenant Reed, this is Admiral Torres. The Dominion command ship is secured. We're downloading their navigation data now." "Good news," Admiral Reed replied. "What about the remaining enemy ships?" There was a brief pause. "They've been neutralized. I'm authorizing medical teams to your location. Prepare the civilians for evacuation to our vessels." As Reed acknowledged the order, he looked up to see a massive explosion in the sky, one of the disabled Dominion ships breaking apart in orbit. The sight was visible even in daylight, a bright flash that briefly outshone the sun. The Lumari around him gasped, some covering their eyes. "What will happen now?" asked the scientist who had shown Reed the shield plans. Reed's expression was grim. "Now we make sure they never do this again." On the Nemesis, Torres and Walker reviewed the data taken from the Dominion command ship. The information was displayed on screens around the Admiral's private briefing room, their entire empire. Walker said, pointing to a star map, 17 conquered, systems all formerly belonging to peaceful species. Torres studied the information carefully, and their home system here heavily defended, but with the same technological weaknesses we've already exploited. Walker looked at her. "What are your orders?" Admiral Torres was silent for a long moment. Finally, she straightened and faced him. "Prepare a message for the Dominion home world. They will withdraw from all occupied territories immediately and surrender to the Galactic Council for war crimes. Trials, or we will bring the full might of Earth's military to their doorstep. And if they refuse, Torres's eyes were cold. Then they learn what happens when you awaken a planet of predators. Walker nodded and left to prepare the message. Torres turned to look out the viewport at the stars, thinking of Earth, the beautiful, deadly world that had forged her species into warriors, survivors, and now avengers. The Void Dominion had spent generations hunting easy prey. Now they would face humanity's ruthless response and learn why the galaxy both feared and respected the Deathworlders of Earth. The great chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Admiral Elena Torres walked to the speaker's platform. The circular room held representatives from over 200 species, their varied forms filling the tiered seating that rose around the central floor. Torres stood tall in her formal uniform, the medals on her chest catching the light. 1 month had passed since the battle at Solara. The council speaker, a tall being with crystalline features, addressed the assembly. We now call upon Admiral Elena Torres of Earth to provide testimony regarding the human intervention in the Vega system conflict. Torres looked out over the gathered representatives. Many watched her with open curiosity, others with clear apprehension. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, and the events at Vega had dramatically changed how other species viewed them. Honorable representatives, Torres began, her voice strong and clear. 1 month ago, Earth received a distress call from our allies, the Lumari. Their colonies in the Vega system were under attack by Void Dominion forces. We responded with a fleet of 15 warships. A representative from a gas giant world raised a tendril. Admiral, many council members have expressed concern about the scale of force used by Earth. The reports indicate that you destroyed or captured nearly the entire Dominion fleet. Torres nodded. That is correct. The Dominion had 20 ships bombarding civilian populations. Our response was proportionate to the threat. Murmurs spread through the chamber. A reptilian representative spoke next, but the reports also state that after securing Vega, your forces delivered an ultimatum to the Dominion homeworld, demanding withdrawal from 17 occupied systems and surrender to council authorities again. Correct. Torres confirmed data recovered from the Dominion command ship revealed that they had systematically conquered 17 worlds over the past 50 years, eliminating peaceful species who could not defend themselves. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. The speaker called for order. A small furry delegate stood. Is it true that the Dominion complied with your ultimatum without further conflict? Torres allowed herself a small smile. Yes, after witnessing what a single human fleet could do, and receiving our promise that we would bring our full military might to their doorstep if they refused the Dominion. High Command chose to surrender in a private chamber adjacent to the council hall. Captain James Walker sat with Lieutenant Tom Reed and Ambassador Tala. They watched the proceedings on a large screen. She's handling them well, Walker observed. Reed nodded. The council is shocked by how quickly we resolved a conflict they've been debating for years. Tala turned to face the two officers. My people owe yours a debt we can never repay. Without your intervention, the Lumari would have been extinct. You would have done the same for us if you could, Reed said kindly. Tala shook her head, but we couldn't. That is what many council species fail to understand. Not all of us evolved the capacity for warfare. The Lumari developed art science philosophy, but never weapons of mass destruction. Walker leaned forward. Which is why species like mine need to exist in the galaxy to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Back in the council chamber, a holographic display showed the systems formerly occupied by the Dominion. Torres indicated each one. Liberation forces have already reached 12 of these systems in 4. We found surviving populations in hiding in the others. Her voice hardened. The Dominion had been thorough in their extermination. The speaker's crystalline form shimmered with emotion. This council failed these species. While we debated and discussed, entire civilizations were lost. Torres nodded. Which is why Earth is proposing a new galactic defense initiative, a rapid response force comprised of ships and personnel from species physically and psychologically capable of warfare, dedicated to protecting peaceful worlds from Aggressors led by humans naturally said a skeptical voice from the upper tiers, led by whoever is best suited. Torres countered humans. Rexis Vaughn. Any species evolved to fight our differences become our strengths when we use them properly in the medical center of the human embassy. Commander Vexar of the Void Dominion sat across from Dr. Anna Lynn, a human xenobiologist. His forearms were restrained, but he sat with the dignity of a military officer. "You could have destroyed us," Vexar said, his translator converting his clicks into English. "Your ships proved superior. Your soldiers overpowered ours with ease. Yet you offered terms." Dr. Lin studied the alien carefully. "Extermination is never our first choice, Commander, unlike the Dominion. We don't seek the elimination of other species." Vexar's yellow eyes narrowed. "Until now, we believe that any species that could not defend itself deserved conquest. It is the natural order. The strong dominate the weak." "A common misconception, Lin. Replied on Earth, the most successful species aren't always the strongest or most aggressive. Often they are the ones that form beneficial relationships with others. Cooperation frequently trumps conflict in evolution. And yet you humans excel at warfare." Lin smiled. "We excel at survival. Sometimes that means fighting. Sometimes it means protecting others who cannot fight. The truly strong can afford to be merciful." The Lumari homeworld glowed like a jewel against the blackness of space on its surface in a newly constructed memorial garden. Lieutenant Reed walked slowly among flowering plants with Tala and a group of Lumari scientists. "The shield technology is being implemented on all Lumari worlds," one scientist explained, "with modifications. Suggested by your engineers, it will provide complete protection against orbital bombardment." Reed nodded. "Good, though I hope you never need to use it." Tala gestured to a crystal monument at the center of the garden. "This commemorates the humans who gave their lives during the liberation of Solara. Their names will be remembered by my people for generations." Reed stopped before the monument, reading the names of the 7 human soldiers who had died saving the Lumari. "They would be honored," he said quietly. A young Lumari approached carrying a data tablet. "Lieutenant, we've been studying your physiology. It's remarkable how your species adapted to such harsh conditions on Earth. We never thought of Earth as harsh," Reed replied with a smile. "It's just home, what your people call a death world," Tala said, "produced beings capable of extraordinary compassion. This is the paradox. My people are still trying to understand." Reed looked up at the stars becoming visible as dusk fell, perhaps. "That's the point when you evolve on a world that challenges you every day. You learn to fight for every moment of peace, every bit of beauty. You learn the value of protecting what matters." Admiral Torres concluded her address to the Galactic Council. "The liberation of the Vega system and the surrender of the Void Dominion marks a turning point for this council. For too long, peaceful species have been vulnerable to aggressors. Earth proposes a new path forward, one where the strong protect the weak, where biological diversity becomes our greatest strength, rather than a dividing line." She gestured to Ambassador Tala, who had joined her on the platform. "The Lumari are developing defensive technologies. Humans and other militarily capable species are creating a rapid response force together. We can ensure that no more peaceful civilizations fall." While this council debates, the speaker called for a vote on the human proposal as the representatives cast their decisions. Torres stood, tall, a daughter of Earth, the beautiful, dangerous world that had forged humanity into a species uniquely qualified to be both warriors and protectors. One by one, the votes appeared on the great display. Approval after approval lit up the screen. A species throughout the galaxy recognized a fundamental truth in a universe filled with both predators and prey. There was a vital role for the Deathworlders of Earth on the Lumari homeworld. Reed watched the council proceedings via a public broadcast as the final vote was tallied and the proposal approved by an overwhelming majority. A cheer went up from the gathered Lumari. "What happens now?" one of the young scientists asked Reed. The lieutenant smiled. "Now we build something better. A galaxy where the strong protect the weak, where diversity is strength, and where no one has to face the darkness alone." He looked up at the stars again, thinking of Earth so far away, yet always with him in the adaptations of his body. The instincts. In his mind, humans had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day, and in doing so had become exactly what the galaxy needed. Deathworlders with the power to fight, and the compassion to know when fighting was necessary, and any species that threatened that new order would learn the same lesson as the Void Dominion. When humanity answers a distress call, they do so with a ruthlessness born of Earth itself,